You don't know what's out there.
That's why I would go.
Hi, and welcome back to Wild Dream, where we give you the freshest takes on the latest movies. My name is David.
And my name is Daniel.
And we do have a windstorm. Sorry, quick warning. Windstorm.
Windstorm. Where's the where storm? Where's the house storm? Where's the wife storm?
Where's the loser storm?
Where's the loser storm?
This is the windstorm. Where's the loser storm? Yeah, so just a forewarning, if the audio is not all perfect and you hear weird stuff, it's because we're in a windstorm.
But you guys should all know that. This is happening everywhere, across the country. Obviously, these are going across the whole country. I mean, our friend Timothy has had windstorms so bad it takes the power out. So obviously a huge portion of our listenership is out there in Texas.
Yeah.
So I know that you guys are dealing with it too. Maybe some of our Oregon listeners are dealing with this as well. I just know that if you have a fucking problem with it, I don't care, because guess what today is?
Daniel's
My
birthday episode.
And I'm allowed to do whatever I want on my birthday episode. I wanted to win. I wanted it to sound like fucking shit.
You sure about that? You sure about that? That's why?
I promise. Yeah, I'm older now.
Daniel's older now.
I'm older.
But it's his birthday episode. And
Yes.
for a very special birthday episode, we went to go see a movie that's been on Daniel's highly anticipated movie list for 2025.
Yes.
And is made by one of his favorite artists
Of
ever.
all time,
So why don't you do the honors of introducing our movie today?
we just saw Ash. One word titles don't hit as hard.
Don't be such an ashhole.
Whoa. I need to ask you something. We saw Ash.
We did.
And this was,
and we're not talking about Pokemon.
And we're not talking about Ash Wednesday for Lent. Okay, we're not talking about that. Yes, I was very excited for this one. This is Flying Lotus, one of my favorite artists of all time. Not only... obviously, my first thing that I fell in love with from his artwork was his music, but then he started doing filmmaking and movie scoring and stuff as well. And so he's a very multi-talented person. And his debut film, Kuso, I was like, holy shit, this is so out there, so wild. No one is making anything like this. This is very forward-thinking. It was very disgusting and... just offensive. Like, it was a very out there movie. I think the closest thing you could compare it to is probably The Substance. It's not quite on par with that, but it is grosser than The Substance. So it just really went there. It gave, something that you had never seen before. It picked up so much steam at a certain point that it got picked up by Shudder. And then Shudder was like, yeah, we're going to put this on our platform. And then since then, he's had a really close relationship with Shudder. And so then, if you listen to our VHS, Halloween special episodes, then one of those VHSs that we watched, he had his second directorial project, and he directed a short film for VHS. So now we have his technically second feature-length film. And the first thing that I thought was interesting is that...
The Ghost.
The first thing I thought was interesting is that Kuso, which was the late 2010s, I can't remember which year, probably 2017, 2018, his credits were directed by Steve. His real name is Steven Ellison. So he's
Wow, you just doxed his ass.
yeah, everyone go find him. He goes by Steve as his credit, but in this one it's directed by Flying Lotus. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, I wonder if he just abandoned that, or if he didn't want his.
He didn't want to do the Curtis Jackson thing.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Movie featuring Curtis Jackson. I'm like, come on. But
yes, obviously, since it's from who I consider to be one of the GOATs in the music scene, I was obviously very excited. I loved Kuso. I thought that his short for VHS was really fun, wacky, out there. So I was hoping that this was going to be super wacky and out there to a certain degree. It's obviously just a kind of a sci-fi cosmic horror type thing. But yes, very excited for it. I was like, wait a minute, that comes out the day after my birthday. That's perfect. So
yeah.
Birthday episode, my favorite artist. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, not to mention, obviously you already said this, but you get a movie coming out by Flying Lotus, and also it's a Shudder movie, and we're big Shudder stands. We love to see Shudder movies get theatrical releases and get to go see them in the theaters. I know we got to go see Stop Motion when that first came out. I think we were planning on seeing Late Night with the Devil. We ended up not. But, yeah, we stand Shudder. That's been our dream sponsor for the longest time. We even did a fake sponsored Shudder episode so that we could bait them into sponsoring our show. So, yeah, I mean, this is I will say this looks and feels like a Shudder movie. And yes. I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way, because one of the things you get from Shudder movies is you get people who, are not it's not the highest production value, highest production quality you've ever seen in your life, but people get an opportunity to make something that you might not have ever seen before. Now, this movie isn't the most original movie I've ever seen. Okay, I'm going to just throw that out there. Mm-hmm. But all of the things that you expect from this movie, knowing that it's made by Flying Lotus, you do get, right? So I not only is the music incredible, but the sound design in general is really good. I loved a lot of the sound design in this movie. And like even down to like, the action scenes and it's almost like explosions were made with synth instead of like an explosion sounds like when stuff explodes. So it's just very interesting sci-fi sound design. This is a sci-fi movie, I think, first, and a horror movie second.
Oh, definitely.
And this is it is an interesting movie. It is not the best movie you've ever seen. Like that's part of what I mean by it's a Shudder. Like it feels like a Shudder movie is like, there's not going to be any Shudder movies that are getting nominated for Best Picture anytime soon. That's not what you go to Shudder for. And so the thing is that I'm not going to be as harsh on the aspects of this movie that feel like a Shudder movie. Like for instance, in this movie, whenever the characters go outside, it's all green screen, but it's not Marvel green screen.
Yeah, no.
It is, it is very, very low. It's like Power Rangers green screen.
Yes. That's actually a great comparison. One of my, you said this movie's not great, but it's interesting. I think interesting is not the right word either, because it's not very interesting. That was one of my biggest problems with the movie, but it was creative.
Creative, that's a better word.
And I was like, okay, like there's a lot of elements here that are creative, and I can see what they were going for here or there. But one of the biggest detriments to this movie is how fucking boring it is to start. Yeah. And I do think that it does reach a point where then it gets interesting, but good God, it takes a long time to get there. And what's really hard about this movie is tiny cast. So the movie is essentially only two people, right? And then we get other ones from flashbacks, and even those are like four other people. It's like really small, so tiny. So you don't have a Tarantino movie where you can have 7 people on screen all talking and switching lines and dialogue heavy to where it keeps the movie going and paced and interesting. So you have to find a way to make this entertaining. And unfortunately, the first, what felt like 30 minutes was so dreadfully slow and boring and really poorly paced. I'm glad it did reach a point where I started getting interested in something, but I was really worried.
Yeah, I mean, the visuals of this movie are still good. I mean, I think that, again, like when I say like you get what you expect from a Flying Lotus movie, that's one of the things I think of too, is the visuals of Flying Lotus. Like, I mean, when you watch his music videos, look at his album art and look at, the kind of visual art that he's into. Yeah. You expect a certain level of, psychedelic visuals in a movie like this, and you do get that. And of course the gore, I mean, what you expect from a Shudder movie too. Everything gore is going to be over the top. There's nothing Shudder's going to say no to in terms of gore or violence, So because they're not like that's part of what I love about Shudder movies in general. It's like, because they're not like trying to please the masses, they're trying to please their target demographic, which is people like us that like to see weird, twisted, fucked up shit. And so it's like, I love the fact that if you take a Shudder movie, you're like, hey, we want to do this crazy, weird, fucked up death and this crazy, weird, fucked up gore. They're like, okay, do it.
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas like, you go and you see like, other movies, more mainstream movies, and all the violence is nerfed, or whatever. So I love that about this movie, the visuals, but I mean, there's nothing very unique about this movie in terms of the plot of the movie, right? It's a sci-fi movie. It's a movie about people in space on other planets and aliens and
stuff goes wrong.
Stuff goes wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it is. And that's, something we've seen before. I do agree that the structure of this movie is the biggest flaw that it has. This movie is backloaded. So it's funny because we're always like third act problems. I even sell a third act problems hat on our merch site.
That you can go buy right now.
You can buy vinylface.com. Yeah, we have a hat that says third act problems. Like that, like it's just such a common cliche, right?
Yeah.
This movie has first act problems. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I feel bad because we're always like, man, you guys got to figure out how to end movies. And it's like, this one has a good ending. Terrible start. And usually it's the other way around, and it should be the other way around, right? It's a movie is supposed to grab your interest and make you want to know what's going on immediately. And I think this movie tried to do that because of how they started, but it just didn't go well because we don't know what happened, so we don't care yet. We don't care about this character. We don't care about these people yet. So when we see people dead on the floor, we don't really care that person's dead on the floor. Just, oh, this is an NPC that's dead. It's like, who cares?
Right.
So then later they try and give us that context, and it's like, it's too late. Like, I've already been watching this movie for this long where I haven't cared about this character, and now you're trying to tell me, this, that, or the other about their personality through flashbacks. And I'm like, well, I already know they die. So I'm disinterested in learning or caring about this person because I know they're going to die. You're supposed to do it the other way around. Make me care and be interested in them and then kill them. And then I'm like, oh, sad. you know?
Yeah.
So you're not going to get the same emotional correspondence with what they wanted to give us in this movie because of the structure of it. But yeah, I mean, I think that, this is one that when it comes out on Shudder, I recommend people to check out. If you like Shudder, if you like sci-fi. But I also think that if you wanted to get on your phone during it, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
I agree. The structure is one of my biggest problems with it too. When we get into spoiler talk, I'll talk about how I would have fixed this and what I was kind of comparing this to in my head and thinking, if this movie was structured this way, this would have been horrible. They should have just taken some notes from that movie and kept it straightforward. We did mention the music. There are points where some of the music is just really good. But I will say that the way they used the music was constant.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a
it was Hallmark level.
Yes, Hallmark level.
Which I noticed that during the movie, and I was like, well, it's a movie made by a musician, so I kind of expected that.
But I'm like, it's too much. Like, there does not have to be something playing in the background at all times.
Right.
It's kind of maddening.
In fact, horror excels in the quiet moments.
True. Yeah. And you mentioned the sound mixing. I had one issue, but I don't know. I'm always weary to criticize certain sound mixings because it could be the theater. That's what happened to us during Beau is Afraid. When I went to go see The Boogeyman, one of the speakers in the theater we were watching was like blown. So all the audio kind of sounded like this a little bit. It was like real tiny buzz. And I was like, why do they do this? And I was like just Googling Boogeyman audio. And I was like, oh, I think that was just our theater. So I'm always weary to do this, but I did not like how underneath the music, the dialogue was. It was so muted and it flat. There was no bass in anyone's tone when they were speaking. And I was like, yeah, I'm so lost. Why does it sound so flat? And
that's why I didn't even know if Aaron Paul was Aaron Paul for the first like two scenes he was in. When he first came in, I was like, this guy looks just like Aaron Paul, but he doesn't sound like Aaron Paul. And I'm like, Aaron Paul has a very, very distinct voice, like one that you could recognize immediately. The only animated show I know that he's in is Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson is BoJack Horseman. And it's him immediaty, right? Yeah. He has a very distinct voice. So when he first came in, I was like, is this Aaron Paul or is this we couldn't get Aaron Paul? Is this like Wish.com Aaron Paul? And it wasn't until like his fourth or fifth scene that I could hear his voice clearly to go like, oh, that's Aaron Paul. You know what I'm saying? Right, so it's like there are like some weird mixings with that too. And part of it is I can't tell if it's directing or if it, like you said, like if it's sound mixing or it could be our theater.
And once he was in the movie, I was definitely curious if his two younger brothers would make a cameo, but They are not in this movie. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but his two younger brothers.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
His two younger brothers, Jake and Logan. They're not in this.
Shut the fuck.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
I was waiting for Jake Paul to come fight. But yeah, so
No, baby!
there were some really good moments of music where the song playing was really cool, and you can tell that Flying Lotus really leaned into the sci-fi. He was like, I'm going to use a bunch of, synthesizers and shit to make this.
Yeah.
What's interesting about him,
The
Ghost, is I've always found his use of kick drum interesting. He's not afraid of it. He's not shy with it. And he just does so many interesting things with songs that I'm like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that, even though it's really simple. And there were a couple of moments in this movie like that where I was like, oh man, that's cool, that's interesting. So I was nerding out on some of the music for sure. But yes, the first 30 minutes or whatever are so rough. One of my favorite things about the movie that I can mention in spoiler-free talk, loved, all caps, loved the design of the spacesuits that they wear. I thought they were fucking cool as hell.
Yeah.
It's really odd. Like they're very video gamey.
Video gamey is something I would use to describe so much of this movie.
Yes, there are very heavy video game vibes.
Is Philo a gamer?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Well, that tracks.
Oh yeah.
This game felt like a movie.
This game felt like Bo Jackson.
Fuck you. I'm cutting that. You know it. Anyways, this movie felt like a video game. Like so much. And like even when you talk about the fact that the movie started slow, I'm like, yeah, like this opening like 30 minutes feels like the opening like level of a video game.
It does.
Where they teach you the controls of the game.
Yeah, how to walk.
And they make you walk very slowly and then look at things very slowly.
And she picks up the knife to start the movie.
Yeah, and it's so fucking walk up, hit X, and then they bend down, and then you're like, she reaches out and grabs it, like, oh, that's how you pick up objects.
Yeah.
Like it was
and
like,
it's like press R2 to swing knife. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it was so like
that's so accurate. Wow.
So video game coded. I was like, I could literally see Dan playing one of these on a Sunday Scaries stream, because part of the games that you play is like just like the games that you play on that sometimes are more of walk around and reveal more pieces of the story than they are like mechanical video games.
Exactly.
So that's what this felt like, It's like walk around and tell us more of the story, So it was very, very video game coded. And then of course the spacesuits, I completely agree. I think I was like, this is like a Mass Effect or Dead Space type of, suit.
Yeah. There's like this part in the back that has like an artificial spine or whatever in it.
Yeah.
Like, or I don't even know if it was a spine, but it was just,
it's like an
exoskeleton type thing in the back that looks like someone's human body parts, like a spine or rib cage, or it's just something insane. And then on the sides of like the arm sleeves of the suit are just what looks like they trapped part of like the galaxy or nebula inside of the suit, and it's just like different kind of space looking. It was so creative to me. I was like, dude, these are really cool. And I love the helmets because you can see the actors through them.
Yeah,
and that was crucial too.
That was very important. The other thing that I liked is they have this machine in the movie that scans people to see if they're like infected by any diseases or like what is going on with them like health wise. And the way the scan looks was really cool. The lighting effect in like laser show the thing puts on, I thought was really cool. And then of course, like when they go out and they look up at the sky, there's like this anomaly in the sky that's like very, I don't know, like trippy,
geometric
hippie bullshit.
I'm about to say, it looks like that white girl that has dreads. That banner that she has in her living room behind her couch. That's what it looks like.
Her studio apartment.
Yeah, it's just very like geometric pattern, very trippy, psychedelic. It's pretty cool. You are right. Like the sound, like there is something very artificial, like almost to a cheesy level about some of the, not visuals, but maybe just the set design. Everything felt really, really fake. for the most part. When it started getting a little more like tight, and it wasn't as much going outside or even like seeing as much of the ship from the outside looking in or anything like that. It was actually like decently believable. But for the again, it was kind of a struggle for the first part of the movie. It's just there was a lot of, oh, this looks really. I can see like the set that they're filming this on. It was which that's where I started to get the VHS vibes. I was like, oh, this is. You can tell that there is no production value. So they're doing what they can with what they have. So it's not egregious, but at the same time, it's like, well, if we're doing suspension of disbelief in space and stuff. So it's like it's pretty grand scale to have some moments that are like, what? And so it takes you out of it, especially because it's a serious movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, something else that I did like about this movie was the lighting design in so much of the movie. There were moments of it that, were, I would assume, inspired by Blade Runner, very Blade Runner coded. But there were also moments that reminded me of Vertigo, of Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, and the way that he used lighting in that movie. And that movie was a very colorful, movie just like this one, where like there's like color design and lighting design went hand in hand in this movie. There were times where it was like too much, right? So like if you go and you watch Vertigo, for instance, one of the rules that we learned in film school was, even if the lighting is, a shade of blue, people's skin still looks like skin. Like we're supposed to like white is still supposed to be white. And, skin tones are supposed to still look like skin tones. So even if you want the lighting to make everything look blue, very, very rarely are we ever in a real life situation in real life in which we're looking at somebody in bluer lighting where they look blue in real life. So it's a very difficult thing to accomplish. And it's something that I think a movie like Vertigo does really well, where even when they have all this green, red, and, purple and pink lighting, the characters still have their, natural skin tones on the screen. Whereas this one just like oversaturated a little bit to where like, oh, the person looks like an avatar blue, like, like they are blue. But there are really a lot of moments too that are just like really accentuated by the lighting and the color, where it's like it like, for instance, like, not spoiling anything, but like there's a scene where the main character is just sitting in a room reading a journal and everything is completely blue. But then there are moments where they're like, there's like an action or fight sequence and the lights are, flashing red and, Aaron Paul's yelling at her and they're like running through a thing or whatever. And everything looks great. Everything looks phenomenal. So, but I think all in all, I would prefer it to to do too much with the color than not enough, when it comes to like, visual interest.
Yeah. I want to mention too, you mentioned that machine in this movie that can scan for any ailments. And the sound design was great on that as well. Not only like when it starts to actually interact with its subject, but the console itself having these little sound effects when it successfully helps treat a patient or whatever. I'm like,
and the fact that it doesn't speak English, I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I was like, this is creative. This is really cool.
Yeah.
So and it also lends itself again to that. This is kind of video gamey vibe, It reminds me of like a companion you would meet along the way in Fallout or something. So, yeah, it was cool. Again,
the scanning felt like a video game thing, and the healing thing, where I'm like, oh, we're running low on health. Put a healing patch on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm healed. Like
that's true. Video game There's coded. A lot of video game stuff in this. Yeah.
Yeah.
The more you like talk about it, I'm like, yeah, this is actually very video game coded. I mean, I got a little bit of graphic novel vibes at points too, but I could just be overthinking it because I know that Flying Lotus's last big like media project like this was Yasuke, the anime on Netflix. And so I'm just like, maybe I'm just, like that was his last project. So this is probably like a graphic novel type that, I'm like kind of connecting dots that probably aren't there. But also, the big part of it too is the main character is gorgeous. I mean, gorgeous. But that's about it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay. I was gonna save this for the rundown, but I'll bring it up now. Okay. Opening scene in this movie. As soon as I see this actress, I'm like, she's gonna be terrible at acting. Like, she's so good looking. She's so pretty that that there's 0% chance she's good at acting. And it's that low. It's like the Megan Fox type of archetype, like this person is so good looking there's not a goddamn chance that she can act for shit. I'm like, there's been like one Scarlett Johansson, the only sexiest woman alive who's a phenomenal actress as well. If you get that hot, the acting skill drops significantly for everyone else.
Yes, I think that her performance gets better in the middle of the movie and some points at the end. But for the first 30 minutes, again, she just feels like a face. Like, she just feels like a face. And she wasn't given a lot to do. So I don't know how much to put this on her, but at the same time, all she does, again, for the first however many minutes of this movie is just walk around and slowly open doors, turn on lights, just really basic kind of boring stuff. So she can't really act that much, but it was so stilted and she was such a just like, oh, she's almost like a model more so than an actress.
100%. I got that.
That I was like, I think I know the twist. She's a robot. Like we had just seen a movie where this was the case. Like recently.
And we won't tell you which.
And we won't
go back and listen
you'll have
to all
to go
of our
and
episodes.
figure it out.
The uniboob didn't help the robot look.
Oh, I didn't even notice. Interesting. You were looking at her breasts?
Yes.
Or breast, I should say, if you said uniboob.
Yeah. The women listening will know what I'm talking about.
But yeah, I thought, I was like, okay, well, there's the twist. She's a robot. And nope, that is not the twist. She's not a robot. She's a person. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not saying that her acting was actually atrocious. I'm just saying that usually when someone's that good looking, their acting is atrocious.
I don't know. But I don't know if I have any much more to say for spoiler-free talk.
So let's get into spoiler talk.
Let's get into spoiler talk.
Spoiler alert. A little fly low on the podcast.
A little fly low on the pod.
Fly low, please don't sue us.
Ash is about a woman who wakes up on a distant planet and finds the crew of her space station viciously killed. Her investigation into what happened sets in motion a terrifying chain of events.
Yeah, so as a special birthday episode extravaganza feature, Daniel will be giving us the rundown.
Oh my God, I'm going to have to do it. Oh my God. All right, well, give me a guitar lick. I usually do that for you. All right, here's the deal. All right, they got a real attention whore for the fucking riff, dude. Ash. Yes, it is about a woman wakes up on a space station. She walks around and she sees that all of her crew is dead in different ways, covered in blood. The space ship itself is in kind of like a code red thing. Everything's blinking. Everything's going nuts. And she's
I just want to say one thing about the opening of this.
Yes.
When I was in film school, we were told like the most amateur filmmaker shit you can ever do is have a movie start with someone waking up.
Really? Yeah.
Think of like I
forgot that that's what the opening like thing is.
Yeah. If you think of like a shitty short film made by like a high school student, isn't it always just someone like waking up in bed and you're like, why the fuck am I watching this?
Yeah. At least it starts with, technically the opening shot is like a space nebula type thing that eventually just, and then it goes out of her eye. So
yeah,
they do it a little creatively, but yes, it is just someone waking up. Now, as she sees everyone who is dead, obviously she's like, what the fuck happened? But she's got this very convenient thing where she can't remember anything. Kind of like all the people that we fucking pull over at accidents on Police Simulator. That every time.
Every single.
What happened here?
Literally, if we play, guys, y'all gotta watch us play Police Simulator on Wild Dream Stream because it is so funny. But I'm telling you guys, like every single time we ask somebody what happened in an accident, we have one of two things happens. It's either like a 4-person accident and every single person is like, I don't know what happened. And then we give everyone the police report. They're like, this is really good. Thank you. I'm like, everyone said they don't know what happened. Or it's like a 10-person pileup and 9 out of 10 people say that dumbass bitch caused this. And then you go talk to the dumbass bitch and she's like, I don't know what the fuck happened.
Yeah. My head still hurts from
My head still hurts.
I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, that shit drives me crazy. But that's what this reminded me of. I'm like, she's just like, what happened? So very conveniently, she can't remember anything at all. And so we get, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is essentially, you're probably wondering how I got in this situation.
Kind of, yeah.
You know, because it's like, that's the format. It is, we're starting from a certain point and then we're going to have to start rewinding for the rest of the movie. So as she's walking around and looking at all these people that were clearly previous crewmates, throughout this, she is just having random flashes of all kinds of shit. It's not even just memories, but it's also like distorted hallucinations and stuff, I would say. Reminded me of some of Brandon Cronenberg stuff, the Possessor and Infinity Pool guy. How there's just random shots of like...
Famously the son of Susan Cronenberg. I'm just guessing David Cronenberg.
David's wife.
Yeah.
That's funny. But yeah, it's just like shots of, you know, there's some, they were really cool, but they happen really fast. So you don't get to appreciate them too much. But, you know, some of the crewmates' faces that start melting into like goop and shit. It was kind of cool. But, yes, so she's getting hallucinations. It's clear that something's not right with her, but she's just trying to figure out what's going on. She goes outside at a certain point, explores the atmosphere off of the ship on the planet that they are on. And during this, we get a scene where she is seeing almost a reflection of herself over off in the distance that's kind of more of like a shadow. And she does the typical, like, I raise my hand and then they raise their hand and then I raise my left hand and they raise their left hand. Now, something about this is very common in movies like this where they do the, you know, wait, is this a for real exact copy of me? I'm always curious why they feel the need to do this for 5 minutes before they realize that it's copying them. So now we know that there is some kind of, this is where I start immediately thinking of Annihilation. Annihilation has a similar...
Not Mortal Kombat. Just...
Yeah, not Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Annihilation. The Alex Garland film. Very similar. Obviously, there's more I got to say about that eventually, but let's get through the rundown first. So... Obviously, something's wrong. She needs to get out of here. But as she goes back onto the ship, she hears one of the chamber doors asking to be opened. So she says, all right, fuck it. I'll give it a shot. She opens it up. Aaron Paul walks in and he's like, hey, bitch.
What, bitch?
Just kidding. That's a reference to a show I've never seen, actually. Okay, so then Aaron Paul comes in and she's like, who the fuck are you? I should fucking kill you, you know, because she's terrified because she thinks someone murdered all of her crewmates. And he's like, yo, chill the fuck out. I'm like y'all's boss, essentially. I'm the orbit.
I'm the orbit man.
Orbit manager.
Oi, I'm the orbit man.
I'm the orbit man. So Aaron Paul's character is just like, hey, I'm like your orbital manager or whatever. I pretty much oversee everything that you guys are doing and help you guys with the mission. I'm coming over here because shit's gone crazy. And she's like, yeah, everyone's fucking dead and I can't remember shit. And he's like, all right, well, let's check you out. So then he checks her out with the cool little scanning machine. And he's like, yeah, looks like you got some blunt force trauma and it's fucking with your memories. And she's like, oh, damn, for real? And he's like, yeah, so take it easy, you know. She's like, well, I'm like actually my memory is so bad. It's not just that I can't remember what happened. I can't remember who I am. Like, I have no idea.
Like, he's like, Rhea. She's like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's me, Rhea.
That's me.
First name Ghana or first and last name Rhea. Yeah, my name's Ghana. What's your last name? Don't worry about it. Gotta read you.
That's fucked.
So he kind of asked her, he's like, well, you don't remember anything. He's like, do you remember anything, like any of your memories from Earth? And she's like, no. Like, I can't remember anything.
I haven't heard that name in years.
Earth. I haven't heard that name in years.
And he's like,
working, man.
He's like, do you even remember that, like, you and I were dating? And we were, like, actually fucking?
Yeah, Dave made that joke in the theater, and I was like, dude, I was thinking the exact... Because, again, this woman is gorgeous. She's beautiful. And I'm like, this would be so, like, scumbag, you know, a sleazeball character to be like, wait, you don't remember anything from Earth? So you don't remember that, like, we were absolutely together, and we're like a thing, and we're dating, right?
He's like, well, clearly you don't remember anything. You don't even wear clothes. You're a nudist.
Oh my God, that'd be horrible. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, dude, I've just expected this guy to be a sleazeball. But she just confirms, like, I don't even remember anything about who I am or anything from Earth. And he's like, okay, well, that is more intense than maybe we thought. She's like, well, am I going to get those memories back? And he's like, I don't know. So that's the big moral dilemma a little bit with her, is like remembering who she is while trying to get off of this planet.
And also remembering the bad shit that happened.
Exactly. She wants to know what happened to all of her crewmates. Now we get a flashback of them hanging out before all this shit went down. And a really cool casting choice. We have the main star of The Raid is in this movie.
Yes.
And since we're in spoiler talk, I'm going to say when he got introduced, I said, if he does not
fucking fight in this movie, I will fucking walk out.
I will riot. Thankfully, he does fight in this fucking movie. So, yes, thank you. And this absolutely confirms to me that Flying Lotus is so based, and he is a Raid fan. I know that for sure now, because there's no way you cast this guy otherwise. I think that was so cool.
Yeah.
So he was in this. Flying Lotus himself plays one of the crew members.
Yep.
And but the crew members, there's 4 of them, so it's key to know which ones are which. There's another woman who's like kind of the badass mullet tattoo, Love Lies Bleeding vibe, you know.
So Love Lies Bleeding. You
have Flying Lotus.
Is that how we're just gonna call people lesbians now?
Yeah, she's real Love Lies Bleeding, if you know what I mean. And so you have her.
Lies Bleeding.
I need to rewatch that movie. That was good.
And we need to re-listen to that episode. It's a good episode.
It is a good episode. Man, we got some good episodes. Let's hope that this one is too. So you have her character. She's kind of the badass. You have Flying Lotus. Flying Lotus is the very soft, understanding, sensitive, just very neutral, likable one. Then you have a character who's kind of the brute. He's really big, like super, like big frame. But it's kind of implied that maybe him and the main character, Raya, have like a I like you too type of thing.
It kind of seemed like they were straight up together.
It did. I couldn't tell.
But then like Aaron Paul at some point says, is it true that you guys had like a thing? Yeah. But it's, you know, is it true you guys were married? You guys were dating? He's like, you guys had a thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not like as fleshed out.
Yeah. So he's the big, kind of gentle giant, because he's also like, you know, he's very quiet. He's, you know, he's sweet. All the memories is him usually just like kind of smiling at her.
Or playing trumpet.
That's right. He is a musician. And then you have our guy from the Raid, who is he's kind of like
the captain.
I'm about to say, he's the one who's just like, look, here's the deal. Here's what we got to do. So he kind of calls the shots. He's the one who makes executive decisions.
Yeah. There's even a scene where they're like learning about, you know, an issue with the planet. And he's like, we have to follow protocol. She's like, fuck the protocol. This blah, blah. And he goes, no, protocol exists for a reason. Yeah. I was like, bro, I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but I'm kind of on his side.
Me too.
He's like, you know, the protocol to leave if we find an invasive species exists for a reason.
That's right.
And then, of course, she doesn't follow protocol. And anyways.
Yeah, and then we'll get into that. So that's the old crew. That's who, you know, she's finding some of their bodies on the ship dead, right? So she has this flashback, so you can kind of see their dynamic back when things were nice. You can see what their mission was through this flashback, and it was essentially them finding a new place to settle that is not Earth. And they were like, holy shit, the atmosphere here, it's blah blah blah. So a lot of, you know, sci-fi doobie bloobly jargon, but you get the gist. So now we're back. When we get back onto the ship again, we're still trying to get off of this planet and also remember what's happening. And eventually she starts getting so throughout the movie she finds these little patches that she puts on her neck. They keep her from having these like crazy fevers and passing out and sweating and all these really intense things, but at the same time they stifle her memories as well. Right. So it kind of just keeps her like calm and like straight, like focused. So
they're her sanity pills. In
essentially, they are.
What's the Sunday Scaries game?
But she notices that when one of them runs out, then she starts remembering things again. And then all of a sudden, one of her memories now is a POV of stabbing the captain. So she's like, check, please. I killed everybody, apparently. So she tells Aaron Paul about this. She's like, hey, Aaron Paul.
And this is what his name is Aaron Paul in the movie too. I thought it was a weird choice. I thought it was
a real weird choice. They say it all together like it's one name though.
Yeah,
Aaron
she
Paul.
never says Aaron. She says Aaron Paul. The guy from Breaking Bad.
And Bo Jackson.
You know I'm cutting that. You know that's getting cut.
It's funny though. We said it 3 times. Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson. She tells him straight up. She's like, hey, I had some memories and apparently I'm the one that killed everyone. And Aaron Paul is like, interesting. And how did you have this memory? And she's like, because I didn't use the patches. And he's like, okay, cool. Put those patches back on. And he starts kind of backing up from her. And she's like, what the fuck? Why? I'm finally remembering stuff. I don't want to wear that. And he's like, you just admitted to me that you killed our entire crew. How about you put those on so that you don't fucking kill me? And this was the only scene, them arguing in this scene. This was finally the first scene where they got to actually act, beyond a couple of lines here and there. They got to really act, go back and forth and really, really fight.
Yeah.
And this is when the acting finally felt like, oh, okay, this is pretty good. So they have that whole argument, and it's clear he's like, look, I just want you to have those on so that we can get off this planet safely. I don't want to fucking be murdered by you, with all due respect. And she's like, cool, well, I want to remember shit. So we're kind of fighting on this, but whatever. So they try and focus. Eventually she's like, I kind of want to see what's going on. She has a memory of this, bro, the dream sequence. I forgot. This is
dream sequence.
That dream sequence. Hey, dream sequence. That dream sequence. This dream sequence was, I didn't like it.
It was visually very, very cool.
It was cool visually.
It was narratively very, very bad.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Flylo. We will not forgive you for your dream sequence.
Yeah, this was, especially because it's chock full of dream sequence / distorted memories. So
yep.
It just felt like almost cartoony when you're going from these crazy flashes of memories and distorted this and that to all of a sudden she wakes up in the middle of like a jungle on a bed with it
looked like a perfume commercial at first.
Exactly. Like déjà. Yeah. Diarrhea. So like it just really stuck out. But anyways, that's how she finds out that there's like some kind of drone that was following them and recording stuff. And she sees it in the dream sequence. Because she sees this in the dream sequence, she knows now, I have to find this drone that was following us, and I can look at the footage and see, kind of patch up some of my memories. She finds that in the ship, and she plugs it in and starts reviewing the footage. This is the moment where the movie got interesting to me. Not until this point did I really care about anything that was going on. It was really slow, super, super rinse and repeat in terms of scenes.
Yeah.
Walk around, turn on a light. Oh, my head hurts. Remember someone. Really sparse dialogue. I mean, it was just so slow, so slow. But when she finds this footage, this is when the movie really starts like picking up for me, because she reviews this footage and she sees that all her and her whole crew were venturing out onto this planet and exploring.
This is like a little VHS movie inside this movie.
It is very VHS, this little section. And they are exploring the atmosphere. They're taking in samples. They're seeing how the atmosphere works. And they're like, I'm so confused about some of the readings. Like, I don't understand. And then eventually they find this massive, what's kind of like a sinkhole, but it's filled with actual like tech and matter. And they're like, holy shit, this is manufactured. This entire atmosphere is being manufactured by someone. And they're like, this is groundbreaking. This is insane. And they go.
But the problem with it, though, is that they realize that like the whole time they are struggling to create an atmosphere that's workable for humans. So someone or something else is terraforming this planet.
Yeah.
That is not them. That's why it becomes a huge issue.
Yeah. So this is a huge discovery, and they're like, okay, well, we need to like investigate this. This seems to be what's kind of creating this. Let's see. And it's a massive sinkhole in the middle of the planet. And they're like, how deep is this? And Flying Lotus's character is like, only one way to find out. And so he picks up a rock and he drops it and he starts counting.
Yeah. Good to know that in the future that's how we still figure out how deep holes are.
Right.
We can scan people and tell you everything wrong with their entire body, but we still don't know how deep holes are unless we drop a rock in it.
He drops the rock into the hole. I can't keep saying hole and not laugh, dude.
You're a child. How old did you just turn again?
Undisclosed. I'm not legally allowed to say. Fine, I'll say it. I'm 1 years old. David, can you bleep that, please? Like they do on Kroll Show. The truth's out. So he drops this rock. He counts. So he goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. By the time he hits 5, the rock then gets propelled at lightning speed right back up into his fucking face and smashes his face in through his helmet.
Yeah, this is some of my favorite gore in the movie.
Yes.
Was how like just his head becomes fucking raw ground beef.
Yes, it's intense. And everyone obviously starts freaking out. They're like, oh my fucking God. And then right after, as they're freaking out and trying to figure out what to do, they don't even have time, because then what looks like a crazy dust tornado starts coming out of the hole, and they are now, it's clear.
Creating ash.
Yeah, it's clear that there's like a threat now, and so they have to go back onto the ship. So that's what she sees on this footage, and she realizes that this Aaron Paul was the orbital manager, overseer. I don't remember the title. And they're like, she confronts him. She's like, "What the fuck? You knew?" And he's like, "I mean, I knew it could be a possibility, whatever." And it creates more friction between them. They're already, debating about whether to wear these patches and stuff, but now they're also talking about like, hey, like, you fucking set us up. You knew this shit was fucked, but you still made us go do this mission. So then we have even extra layers of their whole dynamic. So it's clear it's like these two are trying to get off the planet, but they're also at war with each other in ways. Eventually, as she starts to remember more and more, she is seeing herself killing all of these. She's seeing herself killing all of the crew members. It wasn't just the captain. And then she starts getting enough memory to see what exactly went wrong on the ship. And what went wrong on the ship is that eventually they started taking apart some of the motherboards and panels around the ship. As they pull apart all the motherboards and the panels, they are starting to see this obviously like alien life form, and they are curious about it, but they're a little scared of it. But that's when they're like, holy shit, this place is infected. And the captain's like, we have to fucking leave immediately. And of course the main character is like, are you fucking kidding me? We're right here. We're just right there. We're so close. Why the fuck would we leave? We put all of our effort into this. And he's like, cause it's protocol. There's a fucking alien life force and it's threatening us. We need to leave. And she decides, you know what? While everybody's asleep, essentially, I'm going to go take a sample of this. So she goes, grabs a sample of the alien life form, puts it into a petri dish. Right as the captain walks in and catches her doing this, he then tells her,
for my Marvel fans, this thing looks like Venom.
Venom. For my Sony fans, this thing looks like Venom.
How fucking dare you? Venom.
So when she puts it into the petri dish, it starts going crazy, this little alien life form sample. It breaks out of the petri dish and it infects the captain. Crawls in through his nose. It was kind of a funny visual, like the CGI.
Yeah.
Of it going through his nose. Goes through his nose, infects him, and turns him into a hostile. So she has to kill him. Now we know, all these memories we have of her killing the crewmates is because they were infected and trying to kill her.
Right.
So she kills that crew member. The thing eventually infects the guy that she was, I guess, in love with or whatever, the big brute force guy. Since it infects the guy that she loves, now she has to kill him. So now she stabs him as well. But she's realizing that there is still one person that was not on the ship this whole time. that they could not find, and it was the other woman on the ship. The Love Lies Bleeding. So the
Love Lies Bleeding.
So Love Lies Bleeding, I'm going to try and tell this as chronologically rather than how the movie structures it, but
okay.
we see what happened with her. She was like, holy shit, what's going on? Main character Raya is like, everyone's infected. You need to get the fuck out of here. And she's like, but what about y'all? She's like, just get the fuck out of here or you will die. So she's like, all right, fuck it. And she leaves the ship. So that whole time in current day with just Raya and Aaron Paul, when they're wondering where she is, she's off ship. But eventually she returns. Now, she returns.
Love Lies Bleeding will return.
And Love Lies Bleeding will return. Love Lies Bleeding returns, and she starts trying to immediately when she sees Raya, she starts trying to fucking kill Raya.
She assumes she's infected.
So, and that's what's interesting. They both assume each other's infected, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like The Thing, where it's just like, who's really, like that kind of thing.
And not Marvel, The Thing. This time we're not for not Marvel heads.
Yes.
The Thing, John Carpenter.
Then you get a really cool fight scene between them two. I actually really love the way that she it's really convenient, but it's still that they start fighting, they're fist fighting, blah, 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 but they ended up in one of the showers. And I was like, where's this going? I'm going to come. But then she grabs one of the water hoses that leads to the shower head, plugs it into the helmet of the Love Lies Bleeding character, and essentially drowns her in her own helmet. And eventually, after the Love Lies Bleeding character passes out, then she takes her off to go scan her body to make sure that to see if she's actually still alive or dead, and maybe she can save her. She scans her body, and it says, time of death. It gives a time of death. This is what's really funny too about the machine that scans. It plays a really insensitive animation of how the person died when it says time of death. And I think it even had a "aw" kind of sound or something. It was really.
And it says sorry for your loss.
Yeah, sorry for your loss. So now, yes, her other crewmate is now dead as well, and she's like, "How the fuck did she even get into the ship?" Because nothing went off, no alarms. And earlier in the movie, they found a little panel in a little air duct through the wall that was loose that she's sealed up. So she's like,
"Yeah." When she does that, it again so video game coded. Very. It's like I can in my head just see hold down the thumbstick down of her going down, and then a hand reaches out and tries to grab her, but it's just a hallucination.
Yeah,
and then just the game making you as soon as you start doing an activity and the game zooms in on it a little bit, just shit like that, bro. It's so video game coded.
Yeah, telegraph scares and stuff.
Yeah,
but so she goes. She's like, I'm gonna go investigate this air duct. And when she goes into the air duct, she sees Aaron Paul's dead body. So now we're like, I guess Aaron Paul has been killed by the girl who came back to the ship. So she grabs Aaron Paul's body. She takes it back to the scanner to see if maybe she can save him.
Or if he was infected maybe. And she's still trying to determine what this infection is.
Yeah.
That's causing people to go crazy.
So she brings it over. She scans his body. It scans the body. And then we get what I thought was a really cool reveal. It scans his body and it says time of death 51 hours ago.
Which means it was over 2 days ago.
Yes.
And he has been around in the last 2 days.
And he's been around hanging out for the past 2 days. So really cool reveal. You realize, wait, the Aaron Paul that's been on the ship the whole time is not the real Aaron Paul.
Wait, Aaron Paul isn't real?
Aaron Paul is not real.
Fuck. I have so many emails to unsend.
Aaron Paul CGI? So this is a really cool reveal because now you're now it adds an extra threat, and it adds extra mystery of who is this person then that's been on the ship. It's really creepy. And then you start thinking back to where she went outside and saw a mirror image of herself. It's wait, is this thing duplicating? What's happening? It's creating clones or what's happening? It's interesting. So then there's this extra layer of fear. Now, eventually,
it is the thing.
It is the thing.
So again, when I said at the beginning of this movie, there's nothing very original about this movie.
Right.
That, something that we've never seen before. This is a perfect example. Oh, one of the crew members was actually the alien the whole time, and it was actually able to mimic their voice and actions and memories, just like The Thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely inspirations here for sure. So now that Raya understands everything that has happened, she understands that Aaron Paul was not actually Aaron Paul, and she's like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use this machine that I've been using on everyone else, and I'm going to scan myself. She scans herself with this machine, and it says, virus detected. Now we know that she herself was infected by this alien life form.
After she realizes that Aaron Paul is not real, she then gets another warning from the spaceship where it's like, other thing detected. And then she goes, and it's Aaron Paul coming in, and she's like, you're not real. He's like, haha, you got me. And then she's like, I don't understand. He's like, I'm going to make you understand. And he fingers her. Scar. Sorry. Should I finish that sentence?
Weird pause.
Yeah, no. So he takes his two fingers and he points them like a gun. And he sticks them into the scar in her head, at the top of her head. That we earlier saw the alien jump from the guy from the Ray to her boyfriend, and then she kills her boyfriend, and that jumps from her boyfriend into her through the scar. And when she first saw Aaron Paul and he used the little health machine on her, it stitches that up. And so it's like, oh yeah, it's just closing the wound that, where it came into. So then he sticks his fingers in her head to like reveal, to have her remember everything. And then she's able to communicate with the parasite inside of her body.
Yes. The parasite then is, this is where it gets this is such a VHS type of section of the movie, which is where the parasite who is inside of her starts talking to her. And the language itself is like, and then you get subtitles that say what they're saying. The parasite is telling Raya that they are colonizers, pretty much. They're going, look, this is our fucking planet, assholes, and you guys are not going to take our planet over. And then it starts talking some real shit. It's like, I killed all your fucking crewmates, by the way, because we only really need one of you, and you guys are really inefficient. So you're our host now. We just need you. And then we're good on the rest.
Yeah, the alien says,
let me get this straight, dumbass!
You actually thought we were going to let you take our planet. You actually thought we were going to let you do that.
Interesting.
Yeah, the alien's like,
you idiot, you stupid bitch.
So yeah, they're like, hey, you're the aliens, not us, which is also a very common motif in sci-fi, right?
They said that in Mickey out loud.
Mickey.
It was implied. I kind of like that it was implied that like you're the aliens, not them. And I like that, the dumb people were like, these stupid aliens. It's
yeah.
Like, but then the girl goes, you idiot, we're the aliens. And I'm like,
she said it.
Ash.
But Ash, this was actually pretty good.
I'm doing the best at this.
Birthday episode. Yeah, the aliens are like, the Hoogie Bloogie went to the Bargle.
It's always Fuji's and Funyuns.
I don't know. But it tells her, it's like, look, we only need you. We killed everyone else off. We're good. You guys suck. Get fucking wrecked. Aliens win. And she's like, all right, you know what I'm going to do? I now know that I'm infected. How about I use that machine on myself that I've been using on everyone else?
So I can finally understand what this is.
So that I know, because it's clear that Aaron Paul lied earlier when she was scanned.
Wait,
so
Aaron Paul lied to me?
Aaron Paul lied to me? And all I got was this lousy t-shirt? Can we sell that?
Please.
Paul lied to me and all I got was this lousy t-shirt.
This is Ash merch.
We got to chill out with merch ideas.
Considering no one buys our merch.
It's like no one buys this stuff. We can't keep making it.
No one has a third act problem hat.
No one. So, guys, for my birthday, I want you guys to buy some Wild Dream merch.
How about this?
Vinylface.com. I want you to subscribe.
Go to vinylface.com. Use code Happy Birthday Dan, all one word, for 25% off your order.
Damn, how about that? All right, now's the time to go get some merch, motherfuckers. All right, so she lays herself down. She uses the machine on herself. It says virus detected, obviously. And it says, would you like surgery? And she goes, yep. And so this little machine then reaches into that scar in her head, and it takes out the virus. It eventually finds it, takes it out. One of my favorite parts of this, too, again, this machine has had some of the best personality in the whole movie. After it performs the surgery, it does, again, the little clapping sound like, yay! yay! And it says, please rate your experience. And it has a 5-star like rating, on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was funny.
Yeah, the part that was like really funny was when she scans Aaron Paul's actual body and it says blunt force trauma. It has a little animation of a hammer going on its head. I'm just like, that's so fucking insensitive.
I know. So now she is free from the parasite, if you want to call it that.
TM.
And she's like, she starts kind of coming like to her senses. And
Also weird pause.
Damn,
She starts kind of coming to her senses.
And she she's starting to
Stop. Finish the review.
Can we make it through? Stay tuned, folks. In the background, the parasite then enters Aaron Paul's dead body, and he sits up just like the Undertaker, where my WWE fans at. And now we get one of the best parts of the movie, and that is the final form of the monster, the big monster reveal. This takes over Aaron Paul's dead body, reanimates him back to life, and it explodes his face open using all of its cool little alien tentacles and shit. And now the final monster design is this crazy tentacle alien monster coming out of Aaron Paul's face, and there are pieces of his face and cheek and eye and stuff hanging off the side as it's fighting Raya. It was so metal. Loved it. I thought it was awesome. And they have one big fight. Just like almost every movie these days, we've criticized this before. The main character ends up saving the day by setting everything on fire. It sets the monster on fire. It sets the entire spaceship on fire. Woohoo, everything's solved. And so then she goes into the ship that they were investigating earlier. She gets it to work. She pilots her way out of this planet, and she's going towards the section in the sky that she has to then dock to and then get out of this planet. Now, on her way to this, she starts to tear up, and we have this big emotional, scene of her tearing up. She has memories of each and every crew member that she did this mission with right before she does finally approach the docking station, and the movie ends. At least you think. And then as the credits start rolling, you see some stuff in the background, and then eventually you see that the final approach, right as the ship is docking with the station that it's supposed to dock with, the entire ship that she is on is completely covered in the alien tentacles. So,
Yeah, because you just kind of get teleported to the orbital ship.
yeah. So there you go.
GG.
GG.
Too easy for me, peasy.
Alien wins.
Now, do you want to talk more about this Annihilation comparison?
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. Like my undies. My undies. If you guys are me undies, fuck. Damon, they're not going to sponsor us now. One of the biggest problems to me is the structure of this movie. If you spend the first 30, again, it feels like 30 minutes. I don't want to say it was all 30. Feels like 30 minutes of the movie of just like, who am I? Oh my God, who am I? What am I doing? I don't remember anything. I'm walking around in silence. That's the problem. If you would have had this movie be sequential, if you would have started this movie of this crew finding this planet, them hanging out, them having personalities, eventually shit starts happening. Eventually they find the life form. It goes crazy. It takes them over. People get killed. Now I would have not only been interested immediately, but also I would have felt for the characters that died. I would have actually felt, because you would have given them a chance to have a character developed.
Yeah.
And that is what. I'm trying not to spoil anything from Annihilation here, so I'm just going to keep it as
spoilers for Annihilation. I'm going to
keep it as vague as I can. If you've seen Annihilation, then listen up. Imagine if Annihilation was structured this way. Natalie Portman, this is the opening shot of the movie. Natalie Portman waking up in front of the lighthouse and going, "How did I get here?" And spending 30 minutes of the movie going, "Wait, what? How did I get here?
What's all this weird stuff?
What's all this weird shit? What's happening?"
Wait, this tree person looks just like someone I recognize.
Yeah, it's almost like the DNA is splitting and duplicating and multiplying. I'm so confused. And then she has a 2-second or 2-minute flashback memory of a scene that, oh, wait, where was this bear? What was this crazy fucking bear that...
What was this bear was talking about?
Who's this bear everyone's talking about?
I mean, a bear can't run a restaurant.
A bear can't run a restaurant.
A bear cannot run a restaurant. 5-star restaurant from a bear? I've never seen it. No one's ever seen it.
I went to the bear. I said, I want some honey. They said, we don't have honey. I said, you're called the bear. How do you not have honey?
Okay, I'll do the salmon. They said, we don't have salmon.
They said, we don't have salmon. We do Italian beef. Yeah, what's with this weird bear? What is this? I'm getting flashbacks of my husband. It's just like, why? What made Annihilation so impactful was how sequential they played the story. Seeing and experiencing with those characters, those women that go on that mission, experiencing in real time as things are happening to them at the same time you, the viewer, are. And shit gets weirder and weirder, and you start to understand some stuff while some stuff still remains a mystery. And that's what makes the lighthouse scene at the end of the movie so unbelievably impactful and amazing and incredible, is because it all led to this. And one of the best original songs I've ever heard in a movie as well, in that scene. But I'm just like, imagine if that's how they did Annihilation. It would have suffered so hard. And so, to me, I saw some Annihilation influence here, and I was like, how come he didn't copy the structure? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure.
Imagine if the opening scene of Game of Thrones was the Red Wedding. And then they were like 3 years earlier.
Yeah.
You'd be like, I don't give a fuck about any of these people.
And even that, it's like, it wouldn't be the Red Wedding. It would be the aftermath of the Red Wedding would be the opening.
Yeah.
Because it's not like this movie started off with everyone getting killed. That would have been more interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's so odd how they chose to structure the movie. And I think it's the biggest thing that holds it back. I think it is the number one thing that holds it back is just the structure. And if you would have played this chronologically and sequentially, it would have been so much better. So,
and you literally just played you had started a horror game on your series that was structured this way. So it's like the video game aspect of it, it was hard for me to escape that, partially for that.
Yeah.
I mean, the rundown really did feel more today like a traditional episode, since we just kind of went through every scene and then gave our thoughts on it. But
that's Dave criticizing me, saying, he's not good at this rundown thing.
No, what I am saying is that it means I don't have to keep talking about this shit. I'm tired. I want to go to fucking bed. I don't want to be here anymore. It's my justification for my review being agreed.
Yeah, same. What he said.
Same. What he said. But yeah, no, I think that if you have Shudder, you should check this one out. Like,
when it's on streaming, check it out.
And I think that it doesn't matter, the flaws in the movie. I will still go see whatever Flying Lotus makes next. The visuals of the movie were fun and exciting. I think the soundtrack of the movie was good. And, I think that, I'm not going to expect Oscar-worthy performances or anything like that from a Shudder movie.
Yeah.
But what I do expect is to see something that I've never seen before, which this movie did give me. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're never gonna be like, fuck, this Shudder movie, it sucked,
The budget was so ass.
The budget was fucking awful. The green screen looks like shit. Whatever. But it's like, yeah, I mean, it's
part of its charm.
It's part of its charm. It really is. I'm like, we gave Psycho Gorman a 5 out of 5 skulls. I'm like, I fucking love that movie because it's such a Shudder movie, Yes. Yeah. And sometimes, you get some Shudder movies that are less like that, but at the end of the day, we are big Shudder fans. We're big Flying Lotus fans. We're going to enjoy this movie. But yeah, at the same time, we're going to be fair. This movie had structural problems. Even if we're going to forgive you for your, budget, if we're going to forgive you for the acting performances, if we're going to forgive you, for all these things, what we cannot forgive you for is bad plot development. You cannot have a Shudder movie that's where, if the story is like no good, then it's going to suffer. It's going to suffer.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of elements that we did like about it. My favorite part of this movie, I think, probably was the music and the sound design. in general, but at the same time, I was something I was going into the movie expecting to like. So I don't know if, maybe that's like a little bit less fair because I'm like preemptively liking that about the movie. Yeah. But my least favorite part of this movie, I think you're right, is got to be the structure. Like the structure of this movie should not have been the way that it was. I do like the fact that the end of the movie is the exciting part because you walk out of the theater happier about what you saw than, the last thing, if for recency bias purposes, it helps from that aspect.
True.
But the fact that I wasn't interested in the movie until the very end was like, and here's what I compared it to. Spoiler alert for the book, We Were Liars. If anyone has been recommended that book, We Were Liars, skip ahead until you hear Daniel talking, okay? The book We Were Liars is a book where the main character has memory loss. She doesn't remember what happened before the book started. Throughout the whole time, she's just at a beach house with her friends, and her friends are like, you don't remember what happened? And she's like, no, but I really want to. And they're like, damn, that sucks because we can't tell you. And she's like, but I want to know. And then she goes and talks to another friend. She's like, I don't remember what happened before all this stuff. And they're like, damn, we wish we could tell you, but we were told we're not allowed to tell you. So you're just going to have to remember. She's like, no, fuck, I don't remember. And then it like eventually reveals at the end of the book that what happened was her and her friends wanted to pull a prank by setting the house on fire. And then her friends all died in the fire. And the friends weren't there the whole time. And Taylor was like, wasn't that such a good reveal? Wasn't that so good? And I was like, the whole fucking book was her going, I don't remember what happened. Only to reveal what happened. No, that's not fucking good. I'm like, I don't care that her friends were actually dead the whole time and none of that was real. I'm like, when I watch Fight Club, I'm not like, oh, the whole movie is just him going, what the hell is going on here? No. And then it's a reveal that the guy's not real the whole time. I'm like, that's not the point of Fight Club. You like when you reveal that the guy's not there the whole time, it actually matters because of how much fucking happened. And that book, it's like nothing happened in this book except for her going, I don't remember what happened. What happened? And people going, we can't tell you. And then they reveal what happened. I'm like, so I don't fucking care what happened because that's nothing else important happens in this movie. This movie reminded me of that so much. I'm like, she's like, I don't remember what happened. And I'm like, I don't care I only care what happened. I don't care what you're doing right now. I don't care about you learning about being a botanist or whatever bullshit you're talking about. Like, and then at the end of the movie, the actual important fun thing happens. It's like, well, guess what? The only cool thing about this movie was the ending where the cool shit happens.
Yeah.
So other people who have read that book are probably going to be like, come on, Dave, that book was good, bro. It was a good reveal. I'm telling you right now, absolutely fucking not. But anyways, that's just my take on it.
And here I am. So if you were skipping ahead, you're safe from spoilers for We Were Liars. Just kidding. The spoiler was that they were liars. I will not be reading it. My favorite part of the movie was I'll start with my least favorite. It's the same. My least favorite is the structure. Like I said, I just said how I would fix this. I would play it completely chronological and sequential, and I think the story would actually gain so much from doing it that way. And then my favorite part of the movie is the final monster design. It was so well worth the evening spent, well worth the price of admission, if you will. Although my popcorn and drink were free because it was my birthday gift from AMC because I'm an A-lister. Let's fucking go. So the fact that it all led up to this and you finally get what you go to when it comes to Shudder movies, especially, what are you going for? That. Something off the wall, zany, crazy, like that monster design. It was fucking sick. Obviously, the music was really good too. But man, that monster design was just a great reveal. And that's why it was my favorite part of the movie. There are some gorgeous shots in this movie. I wanted to mention this before we ended today. There are some singular shots that are so gorgeous that they look like what you would have as your background on your phone or computer. The one of her standing in front of the red backlight with the
circular
bonsai tree.
That's one of the ones I think of Vertigo the most of.
Dude,
when I saw that.
Gorgeous shot. But yeah, so there's a lot working for the movie. I just, I really wish it was done differently in terms of structure. And yes, the performances are not great, but like you said, I was not expecting elite acting from a Shudder movie.
Elite acting. Elite.
But yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
when I talked about the movie not being that original either, I didn't mention this one, but the Alien movie, Alien thing is inside of you, and then it bursts out and it becomes the alien. Yeah, another movie that this one was definitely taking some liberties from.
Yeah, for sure. With all that said, what are you feeling, Dave? I guess I'll go first. I'm the birthday boy. I'm gonna give Ash a 4 out of 10.
Well, I'm giving it 5 out of 5 skulls.
Is it on Shudder yet, though? Can we do that yet?
I mean, I'm doing it.
Thank you to everybody who checked out my very special birthday episode. Thank you to everyone who tunes into these, I was going to say weekly, but, with our schedule, you never know. We appreciate you for being along for this ride. And I'm super excited to get more out there. But also, don't forget, we are at Wild Dream Stream if you want to see us even more frequently. We stream multiple times per week. I'm always doing my Sunday Scary stream where I play horror games on Sunday evenings. So please come tune into that. We have our shooters and such on Tuesdays with our friend Timothy. And on Thursdays, we play me, David, and Taylor. All will always be there. And then hopefully we have some friends to join us along the way. We've been doing Phasmophobia, but we're always looking for other games to transition to.
Yeah, we'll be expanding some Demonologist, Bigfoot, Devour.
Yes.
All kinds of fun co-op based horror games.
Yeah. So come hang out with us. Wild Dream Stream on Twitch. We are at Wild Dream Stream on YouTube as well for that. And we are Wild Dream Stream on Instagram for that. However, for this project, our baby, Wild Dream, you can get involved in the conversation. You can do that by reaching out to us on Instagram. We are at Wild Dream Pod. That's it right now.
As of right now,
Yeah.
everything else has been converted to Wild Dream Stream, just because we're actually posting clips and stuff like that. But
Right.
At the same time, if you come to a Wild Dream Stream Instagram, you come to the Wild Dream Stream TikTok or YouTube, you come to see us on Twitch, and you say, "Hey guys, I want to talk about movies." We're not going to be like, fuck off, that's a podcast thing." We're going to talk to you about movies. You can
I'm
ask
off the
us.
clock.
Yeah, you can ask us. You could come into the stream and be like, "Hey guys, you guys were wrong about Ash. It is a 4 out of 5 skulls." And I say, "You're fucking wrong. Ban this motherfucker right now." So yeah, I mean, you guys, we're open AMA when we're streaming, so don't worry. You can come see us out. You can get involved with the podcast at Wild Dream Pod, but support us on the stream. It really helps. And if you really want to support us, you could always buy some merch. And our store doesn't exclusively have Wild Dream Stream merch. There's also other stuff on there, including Phasmophobia merch we have on there. We have just some cool designs for t-shirts and stickers and things like that. We're always adding more stuff.
Oh yeah.
So it is the official merch store of Wild Dream, but it's also just a place where me and Dan post. We create designs for stuff like stickers, hats, and shirts, and then we post them because we like doing that stuff and it's fun for us. It's a way for us to still be creative in other ways. So
Yeah, buy some swag.
come by. It's at vinylface.com. Vinyl, just how you think, VINYL, vinylface.com. Use code Happy Birthday Dan for 25% off of your order for the rest of March.
Wow. Get in on that while you can. They're selling like hotcakes.
I've never had a hot cake.
I don't remember hotcakes selling that well.
All right, we love you.
We also kiss you. Good night.